Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the BG Show. We're here to talk about White Lotus Season 2. I'm here with my friends Richard and Taylor. They watched it as well, and we're just going to get into it, have a conversation about spoilers and whatnot, what we liked about it. You haven't seen Season 1. You have seen Season 1. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get right into it, and I'll start with my big picture thoughts. All right, so the show is good, but I can't believe the show has won Emmy Awards of any type or is being discussed with Emmy Awards. It's an entertaining adult show. It's only 7 episodes. It's like a good weekly show. I like watching it, but like it almost reminds me of kind of like the kid in high school who's like part of the popular crew, and you're thinking about it like, why is this kid in the popular crew? He's not even cool, and there's nothing cool about him. This is what White Lotus is with like HBO shows. It's like with Severance and with House of the Dragon. It's like it hangs out with those shows, so like it gets nominated for Emmys, but it's not a fucking Emmy. Like if it was on Netflix or any other network, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be considered cool. That being said, I think it's a solid show, and I would say watch it. That's like my non-spoiler opinion. So what do you guys think?
I liked it. Like, the first episode, it started out with a big suspenseful opening, and like each episode, it just started growing and growing and growing. And by the finale, like you want to know what happened. Would I say it's just comparable to Game of Thrones and everything? No, but it doesn't have to be, right? Like, it's not this huge, big FX show with like insane backstory and everything. It's just like this small contained story that happens over like 7 days. So right. It just doesn't have to be. It doesn't intend to be.
But I think the problem you two are having is you're comparing it to those kinds of shows. What you need to be comparing it to is like shows that are in its category, like stuff like You on Netflix, and then even just like Big Little Lies and stuff that was already on HBO. Mm-hmm. I think what people like so much and why it's getting nominated is because it is something so different, where it does have those like intense moments of like interpersonal like drama where like, oh my gosh, like where you can feel like you've been in that position, and then all of a sudden someone's falling down the stairs.
Yeah.
So it's such a good balance of like putting you in those deep emotional issues and then pulling you right out with humor.
Yeah.
Or like, sarcasm or something. So I feel like that's why it's getting the nominations, because at the end of the day, House of Dragons was not as good as this show is. House of Dragons production was terrible and their lighting was terrible. But we're off on that.
All right, for the record, White Lotus is not better than House of the Dragon. I'm just going to say that. House of the Dragon is a million times better. But anyway, moving on. I just had to put that out there. Do you agree?
No. I like White Lotus more.
Okay, all right. We'll say this. We'll have this debate on another one. All right. Okay. You threw me off with that now. Okay, I gotta like recenter myself. Okay. All right. Well, so I'm just joking. Moving on to all right. So I think another reason the show's successful is because it's not like a guy show or a girl show. It's kind of like a show for everyone. It's just like an adult HBO show. It's weekly too, which like kind of HBO I feel like has re-cemented their claim as like weekly show. Like Netflix is all about binging. I feel like having a weekly show is kind of like almost popular again. Like people like having a weekly show again. It's crazy how much like, I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but like the show's huge on Twitter. Okay. Every single week, like people are talking about the show, and I'm just thinking about how Stranger Things like is a couple of days. It's like a week, and then it's just done. It's just out of like the public. All right, so getting into like the kind of like, I guess, meat and potatoes of the season. You have the what's it called? The couples is one group. Then you had, I guess, the hookers is another group. And then you had like the father, the son, and the grandfather is one group. And then you had like Jennifer Coolidge and her assistant and her husband. So I guess what did you find to be the most interesting group throughout the season? And like what was your favorite or least favorite? Favorite and least favorite?
My favorite was the couples. I thought like their dynamic was interesting. I felt like throughout the whole series, like they changed the most. Like I guess just going through it, the father, the grandfather, and the son. It was interesting seeing how their dynamic of their women changed throughout the season and how the prostitutes it played a part into it. Like
Yeah.
you saw that it started with the father first, and then the grandfather found them in his room, and he got involved that way, and then ultimately it became the son who was most involved.
It's like the Three Little Bears of hookers.
Yeah, so I mean,
Pretty much.
the show is like always trying to. So I guess like with the son, it trying to like set him up as like a nice guy, and he's really nice, but he doesn't know how to talk to girls. And first of all, this is the biggest plot hole of the entire season. You're telling me this guy is 6'3", his father is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, we're supposed to believe, and he goes to Stanford, and he has no idea how to talk to a girl. Plot hole. That's plot hole. That person doesn't exist. I feel like there's no such thing as an incel at Stanford. If you go to Stanford, you have to be like socially, you know. You can't just be like a crazy weirdo and be out of your mama's basement and then go to Stanford. That's that's not how it works. I feel like everyone there's like a well-adjusted person.
I mean, that's what you would hope, but there's always the people that just crawled out of their mother's basements and higher education institutions.
But don't you get you get like interviewed and I don't know. I guess you can pass an interview.
Diversity.
But
They need
I'm
the people
nitpicking.
who crawl out of a basement.
But anyway.
Make everybody else cool.
That's a category.
So Albie, I guess Albie's his name. He also reminded me of Michael Cera. I feel like this would be Michael Cera if this was made 10 years ago.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Like a cooler Michael Cera. So like they do like the typical where I guess that's the thing. You don't know if it's like being made well or if it's just kind of obvious where like he meets the girl and then the other guy comes along and the other guy's like a dick and then she goes with the other guy and it's like, is this supposed to be like, I don't know, it's almost like too on the nose or it's supposed to be realistic. Like what do you think about how they do all these things?
I thought it was funny, right? Like the two of them meet, Portia and Albie, they meet, and then one reason or another, they both went separate ways, right? Like Portia found that guy, and then Albie found what's her face, Lucia.
Yeah.
And then like by the end, they reconnect, and they're like, oh, we'll settle, and like. Our higher aspirations were too high, and it's like kind of Icarus thing. They just flew too high to the sun.
Yeah. And then, okay, so, all right, let's get back to the couples now, because that's probably like the main part of the season. So, what did you think? I know you had thoughts on Aubrey Plaza. She was like, everyone thought she was really good. She's from Parks and Rec, and she's been in a couple other things. She has like the very monotone, kind of like that sort of thing, is like kind of being a bitch almost. And that's exactly what she was here. So what did you think of like that whole of her and
Well, like obviously like episode 1 I couldn't stand her character. And like what Richard was talking about how they kind of grow throughout the season, I really felt like, the more the season went on, the more you got to understand her and the more you were like, okay, like maybe she's changing, maybe she was wrong about them, like she was just being hard, very judgy. And then like you see the other couple and you kind of see like she was right all along, and then at one point you're like, this is the only person who makes sense. And then by the end of it, you're like, they're all idiots.
Yeah.
They all deserve each other. They're a bunch of idiots.
That's really I guess there's really no good guys or bad guys on the show. I mean, it depends what you think because like you can say like I guess the hookers are the good guys, but they also scammed people, and then
I mean they're bringing joy to so many people across the hotel. The only people they actually hurt was the piano player.
Oh yeah.
But if her friend would have just given her the Viagra, it would have been fine.
Yeah. So do you think? Here's my question: do you think the show, in terms of like the murder mystery part, I thought it's a good aspect of the show. I thought it was handled better in season 1. I thought. This season, it was kind of like, it almost felt like they didn't even need it, and it just was part of the plot. I knew it wasn't going to be Ethan or Cam. It was too obvious, and it doesn't seem like they ever want to kill, based on the last 2 seasons, they don't want to kill they did kill a main character, but it doesn't seem, she didn't seem as main. I always thought the couple's plot line was like the main plot line of the season. That's how I felt. And the stuff with the gay uncle and that was kind of like, even though she's the recurring character, I never saw her as the main character. like other people did. And yeah, I think it's good. I think this season kind of missed a punchline though that last season had. I don't know. I think last season kind of had a punchline a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely think with the way that they died and everything, and it was like it was like multiple deaths in like random ways, and then this one she like went all like hardcore Harry and just shot everybody down, and then kind of just slipped off the boat. Like, it is kind of funny, but it's also kind of like, was she really like that helpless to where she couldn't have just climbed down the ladder that was like right behind her?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I just feel like after everything, like the director said he wanted like a derpy death for her, but I just feel like it was kind of like just thrown in there. Like it was just like, oh, and she dies. Like there was no reason for her to die. I don't think it added anything to the season.
Yeah, I think I don't think they should have brought her back from season 1. Like I just do it totally clean. Like either have recurring characters or don't, but don't just bring her back. And I think most of her scenes, it got better towards the end, but like all of her scenes in the first half of the season were just kind of, weren't that funny. Every time you saw her, you're like, all right, here we go. Like when she went to the mind reader, I just saw that whole scene was kind of whack. I'm trying to think what else. Michael Imperioli, have you guys seen Sopranos?
I have not.
No, have you?
I saw it, but I couldn't tell you anybody in it.
So he hasn't been in a bunch of stuff since Sopranos, and he was okay. He was you know who he is, like the dad. He's the Italian dad. It's like the grandfather, the dad, and the son.
Oh,
he's the dad, like in the middle. So he was like a main character in The Sopranos. So he didn't do a whole lot in this. I thought he may have been the one who's going to die. I don't know why. I just thought like maybe him. I thought it was going to be a guy. I really thought. I don't know why. I just thought it was going to be a guy.
I thought it was going to be the grandfather because he kept falling and his Band-Aid was just always there and he just seemed so out of it all the time. I thought it was going to
be one of them. But it almost like makes the show too extreme if one of the main characters die. Because they almost like want to kill someone, but they don't want that to overtake the. And also the last dead body was different because in season 1, so pretty much there's this rich guy, this rich couple, and the girl kind of marries into money.
Okay.
And you're meant to believe that she's going to ask this guy to divorce him, and then he's going to get really mad and kill her. That's like what they're building for the whole season. And then it turns out that like he ends up accidentally killing the manager. And then like you think that she's going to divorce him, but then she ends up going back together with him, and it's like this whole like, oh, so all that, and it's not even going to.
Yeah. There
wasn't as much subverting of expectations, I don't think, of this. Although I think the point is that like the Ethan and Aubrey Plaza
Harper,
they leave exactly like the other couple when they think they're the polar opposites. Like they leave almost very similar to them. I think that's like the point, the punchline. That's what they're going for. Whether anyone thinks that's good, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I know, like, when I watched, like, the insight on the episode, the director said that, like, you know, like, maybe all along, like, their relationship just needed a little bit of what the other couple had. So, which I guess is, like, a little bit of that mystery, a little bit of that, like, dirty, you know, I guess betrayal. I guess betrayal is the spice of a long marriage. I don't know.
It's not realistic. I feel like it's not supposed to be realistic, but I feel like they have to like, because it almost would be better if you followed like people on vacation. It was more realistic. I feel like obviously it's not realistic, but the people's reaction to things aren't realistic either. Mm-hmm. You know, like probably someone's going home to getting divorced in one of these scenarios, right. But then you wouldn't have a show. So
I don't know. That wife is so in denial. She is not.
The other one? Well, here's my question. So, do you think the show would be better at 7 episodes? If this was, let's say, 10 or 12 episodes, and then let's say you added like a couple of scenes with her, like let's say vacation started at home, so there were a couple of scenes like at home. You saw them. Maybe there's a scene with the trainer because the trainer is like the kid's father, right? That's like a whole. Did you pick up on that?
Wait, what happened?
So. So when Cam's wife, the one who's like kind of in denial, the crazy one, when she's talking about having an affair with the trainer, she shows the picture of the 2 kids, and she's like, "Why are you showing me a picture of your kids?" And that's like a thing that the kids are, the trainer's kids.
See, I took that scene completely differently.
And Cam knows that because when Cam's in the last episode, she's like, "Here, come say hi to your kids," and he's like very, very pissed off. He's like yanking on his teeth. and I think that's what's meant to believe.
Okay.
See, because I took that scene differently, that she was kind of hinting at the fact that she is having an affair, but she's showing a picture of her kids to get her to stop harassing her. Like, that's something like, think of my kids, think of my family. I thought that's what they were saying.
What do you mean?
That, like, her denial is all about, like, having this happy family, the family thing, you know, being taken care of and all that stuff. So when she's like, let me show you a picture of my hot trainer, instead of showing a picture of him, she's like, remember I have children? Are you trying to break up my family? Stop pushing me. That's how I took it. Because she's so in denial, she doesn't want to be pushed. That's why she doesn't have any female friends either. Because every time they push, she drops them. Because she needs to maintain her bubble for her life to function.
I saw it the other way. I think she doesn't have any female friends because Cam tries to have sex with all of her friends.
Well, I
which
mean,
is what she did, which is what he did, or tried to do this.
I mean,
why.
I think that's part of it, but also the confrontation. Like, can you believe he tried to have sex with me? Are you sure? And then they're kind of like, this is nuts. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And she distances herself. It's every time like someone brings it up to her, you see the hurt in her face, but you see how she bottles it up, swallows it, and just spews out all this positive nonsense. Like, she's just feeding herself garbage, and if you're not willing to take it, she'd rather just be alone in her bubble. And like, that's how I took it. Like, as a leave me and my family alone. Remember, I have children. This is the father of my kids. Like, and I think that's why she kind of didn't push it anymore. You know, she was kind of like, all right, whatever, because she realizes that this woman, like, this is it for her.
Yeah.
Like, she needs this. So, I don't know.
That makes sense.
Do you have any other thoughts?
No, not on this.
I'm trying to think what else there's. It's kind of like a tough show to break down. There's not like a lot of.
Do you think that? Can you believe that? That the high class gays were looped in with.
Oh, Greg, that's the whole thing.
With
So
Greg.
Was it confirmed that they were going to kill her? Like, did they confirm it, or did they say it, or were we just supposed to believe it? They never said anything, right? She kills them before she gets confirmation, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the objective.
The
right?
plot
Like,
was basically she has this gay guy is in love with Greg, right, from a long time ago. Greg marries her, and she has a prenup. And in the prenup, it's basically the only way that Greg can get money is if she cheats on Greg. So they hire this mobster guy to basically seduce her and have sex with her. And I think if you go back and watch the scene, there's a camera in the corner. You can see like a camera recording them. And I think what they're basically going to do is just like blackmail her and then have the mafia guy kill her and throw her off the boat probably. Then Greg would get the money, and then Greg would pay them for doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's also possible we're just made to believe that in our head, and it's not actually. It was all like just a.
Well, she's such a unreliable narrator that I think that's part of the point, right? Like,
We're seeing it through her point of view.
yeah, that like we're supposed to spiral down with her thinking, and it just never got confirmed. Because like once she killed a guy, her first question was like, what was her question? Was Greg cheating on her? So like, it wasn't even like life and death for her at that point. It was like, does this guy still love me? So like, it just like her priorities weren't in check.
I thought it was good, but it kind of just went exactly where we thought it was going to go. Like, everyone on Twitter said this 2 episodes ago that they were going to do this and using her. So the whole point of this show is I feel like your theories aren't supposed to be true. So I feel like the fact that everyone's theories were true about this was kind of. I mean, I guess it was still good, but a little bit strange. I didn't think that she should have been the dead body. I think it should have been either one of the one of the three grandfather-father thing, or one of the couples, or someone else, or even like
Portia, because she was just sad the whole time, and she was just giving me like, I'm gonna drink and slip off a cliff kind of vibes. Like, I
thought someone might commit suicide too, which I didn't consider. I considered maybe there wouldn't be a murder and someone was just going to commit suicide. I also thought, which was my theory, and I realized it wasn't possible. I thought that the manager, the woman who like figured out she was a lesbian, was in love with or really like the other front desk,
yeah,
the younger
yeah.
one, and so kept sending her fiance to the pool. I thought she was gonna like lose her shit, kill, like kind of get mad and like maybe hit him with like a brick or something.
What?
Rocco,
No, well, I mean, like,
but the thing is, he's the one who.
he was in the first
It was the
episode.
first episode, and I totally forgot that.
Yeah.
So, like, the entire season, I'm like, oh, this is my really good theory. Like, watch this. I'm a genius.
Yeah.
And then, nah, it wasn't even possible. I realized it at the end.
Yeah, I mean,
we rewatched the first episode, like the first 5 minutes or so, just to like speculate before the last two.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And
Yeah.
like based off of like how the one woman reacts when she finds the body, I was like, well, it's neither of the husbands. Because
Right,
if
because
it
she would have
was-
freaked out.
Yeah.
Unless
And
she did it. Unless she did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she would also have to play it up. Like she's
Yeah.
not an idiot.
Yeah.
She's been lying her entire marriage. What's another 15 minutes?
Yeah.
So I don't know. She was just kind of like, like had no idea who this woman was. So I was like, it's got to be somebody that she hasn't talked to. So I don't know.
So, what do you think where should they go for season 3? What do you think they should do? Here are some of the ideas I had. They can go on like a African safari, like African outdoor junk, like tent, like glamping type safari thing. They can go to like Singapore or like maybe Japan or, kind of out there. They can.
oh, does it have to be a beach? Because like, weren't they in
No.
Hawaii?
Oh yeah,
first
they
one?
were. So it doesn't have to be a beach, but
I mean, Mexico's a strong contender. I
yeah.
feel
Or you can go you can stay in the United States and go to you can have like a scene in like Colorado, Utah, or even like Yellowstone, or I don't know. I think they're definitely gonna do season 3, right? They're definitely going to. Do you think season 3 would be better, all new characters, or continuing with these characters,
The only characters I would like to see
or a mix? What if they took all the characters from season 1 and 2 and they had a mix of season 3? Or you want a big brain idea? Here's a big brain idea.
Okay.
You have characters from not every single character, but let's say you had a character from Succession vacation at the White Lotus and be on the White Lotus as his character on Succession.
Which one? The one that's like does a bunch of coke?
Or no, but even or any HBO show. Any HBO show.
Yeah, but do
And
you
I'll-
think that they need to rely on crossovers?
No, but it's like an interesting idea. Like, what if HBO just like
I just feel like that's something shows do when they're not doing well in ratings.
Yeah.
I feel
or
like that's
no,
such a
but it's
cheap-
also just innovating. I feel like it's
I feel
I
like
don't know.
all these networks do like those little crossover specials with their shows.
I mean, yeah, the
I kinda like it.
actor schedules is gonna be hard to coordinate, and then you're trusting
I like it.
you're
Yeah.
trusting this writer to be faithful to these characters that he has no allegiance to.
I guess, but the character wouldn't. I guess because the show is still going on, you couldn't do it. It would have to be a show that was over, right? Like he couldn't go like on the White Lotus and back to his old show. I just brought up Succession because that was like an HBO show, but there could be other shows maybe, but
No,
that probably
I like
won't happen.
Succession. I like Succession. And those would be the kinds of people that would stay in.
Yeah, like rich people.
Yeah, because it has to be like one of those high-end exclusive resorts.
Mm-hmm.
So, wherever you can think of. I mean, like, I really feel like they're probably going to go to like someplace like Mexico or Asia. Asia's really hot right now.
That's where I would go.
So I just feel like, no,
Yeah,
seriously, everybody's traveling and
Thailand.
going to Asia right now.
They
So,
go to Thailand.
yeah, but I feel like it's probably, if it's Japan, I'd be stoked.
Japan would be
but,
cool.
like,
They should go to Japan.
would be dope.
So yeah, that's our review for White Lotus. I'm gonna give it grades. Let's give it grades. I'm gonna say favorite characters, least favorite characters. Right. So favorite character, I'm gonna say maybe the grandfather. Probably, I liked him.
Yeah.
Least favorite character, Portia. Probably. Maybe.
That's fair.
Oh, I think they can. Another thing they can do is like just pump up the budget. Like you could have cut a check to Florence Pugh and put her as Portia, right?
Yeah, but she's in everything.
Yeah, but
Why? Why?
It's 7 episodes.
No, for sure.
Here's the pitch. Do you want to take a vacation in Italy, make $15 million and film for a month?
Yeah, but I'm really over Hollywood over-saturating the market with one particular actress.
Or how
because
about-
she has sellability.
I also thought of, I was trying to think who else could be in this. They got to just put someone like huge and random in here. Like Schwarzenegger. Just put someone fucking random in here.
This
I
Schwarzenegger
don't
would
know.
be fun.
I feel like that
because-
would be too distracting. Like these are supposed to be like everyday relatable people that
Yeah.
like could like if
Well, there's not one ugly person on the show, so they're definitely not relatable. No one's ugly.
Well, speak for yourself.
There's a-
I find them relatable.
I guess personality-wise they are. But, all right, that's our review. I'm going to say, we'll give a grade. I'm going to say 80 out of 100. We do out of 100.
I think that's fair. I was gonna give it like 4 out of 5. So yeah.
82, pretty much.
I would say like 85.
85?
85. It's not the best thing that I've seen on television.
It's a solid B.
But I was excited every week
Better
to
than season
watch
1?
it.
Do you like it better than season 1?
No, I like season 1 better.
So what would you give season 1?
Oh, like it's straight 95.
95.
That's what made me come
So you
back.
think it's much better than season 2? You think season 1's much better than season 2 then?
Yeah, because I feel like season 2 wasn't as predictable, but it's also the first season. Like, it had to have hooked you.
Yeah.
So, like, season 2 was good, but I think it relied on its name a little less, a little more than, writing a little bit. Sorry. So, hopefully they put a little more zest into season 3, and I think it'll be good.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's our review for White Lotus season 2. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.